Hi guys, everyone, it's Ella here. I just wanted to explain some things to people that might not be aware about what a star fort is or what a citadel is. So, a citadel is the core fortified area or a town or a city. It may be a castle, a fortress, a fortified city centre. The term is diminutive of city and thus means little city. So called is because a smaller part of the city of which its defensive cause. Ancient Sparta had a citadel, as did other many Greek cities and towns. In a fortification with bastions, the citadel is the strongest part of the system, sometimes well inside the outer walls and bastions, but often forming part of the outer wall for the sake of the economy. It is positioned to be the last line of defence should an enemy breach the outer component of the fortification system. So, 330 to 1300 BCE, some of the oldest known structures which have served as citadels were built in the Indus Valley civilization, where a citadel had represented centralized authority. The main citadel in the Indus Valley was almost 12 meters tall. The purpose of these structures, however, remains debated, though the structures found in the ruins of, were walled. It is far from clear that these structures were defensive against enemy attacks, rather than they may have been built to divert floodwaters. Several settlements in Anatolia, including the Assyrian city of Canes in modern-day Kuput, featured citadels. Cane's citadels contain the city's palace, temples, and official buildings. The citadels of Greek city of Mycenae were built atop a highly defensive rectangular hill and later surrounded by walls in order to increase its defensive capabilities. In ancient Greece, the Acropolis, literally high city placed on a commanding eminence, was important in the life of the people, serving as a refuge and a stronghold in a pearl, containing military and food supplies, the shrine of the god, and the royal palace. The most well-known is the Acropolis of Athens, but nearly every Greek city-state had one. The Acropolis was framed as a particularly strong fortress in a much later period, when Greece was ruled by the Latin Empire. The same strong points were used by the new feudal rulers in much of the same purpose. In the first millennium BCE, the Castro culture emerged in northeastern Portugal and Spain in the region from Turuno River up to the Mejano, but soon expanding along the coast and east following the river valleys. It was a autochthonous evolution of the Atlantic Bronze Age communities. In 2008, the origins of the Celts were attributed to the period of Jante Couch and supported by Barry Conlife. The A River Valley in Portugal was the core region of this culture, and a large number of small settlements, but also settlements known as citadels or oppida. A podium is a large fortified Iron Age settlement, the oppida associated with the Celtic late Latin culture emerging during the 2nd and the 1st centuries BC, spread across Europe, stretching from Britain and Liberia in the west to the edge of the Hungarian plain in the east. They continue to be used. So these are very old, much older than the 1500s, like they're saying. I think they were just renovated by each culture that come around and found it. And the Romans didn't build them. Neither did the Portuguese. They just renovated them. So, rebels who took power in a city with a citadel still held by the former rulers could by no means regard their tenure of power as secure. One such incident played an important part in the history of the Maccabean revolt against the Seleucid Empire. The Hellenistic garrison of Jerusalem and local supporters of the Seleucids held out for many years in the Acra citadel. It's all ruins, making Maccabean Maccabean rule in the rest of Jerusalem precarious, when it finally gaining possession of the place. The Maccabeans pointedly destroyed and razed the Arca, though they constructed another citadel for their own use in a different part of Jerusalem. So they're very, very old. I'm going to look into the Renaissance period as well. I don't believe a lot of those Renaissance paintings are paintings. I think they're actual photographs. Okay, from the 1600s to the present, in the time of war, Citadel in many cases afforded retreat to the people living in the areas around town. However, citadels were often used to also protect a garrison or political power from the inhabitants of the town where it was located, being designed to ensure loyalty from the town that they defended. For example, during the Dutch Wars of 1664 to 1667, King Charles II of England constructed a royal citadel at Plymouth, an important channel port which needed to be defended from a possible naval attack. However, due to Plymouth's support for the parliamentarians, the then recent English Civil War, with the Plymouth Citadel was so designed that its guns could fire on the town as well as the sea approaches. Barcelona had a great citadel built in 1714 to imitate the Celtians against their repeating their mid-17th and early 18th century rebellions against the Spanish central government. In the 19th century, when the political climate had liberalized enough to admit it, the people of Barcelona had the citadel torn down and replaced with the city's main central park, Parc de Certurala. Similar example of the citadel in Budapest, Hungary. The attack on Bastion in the French Revolution, though afterwards remembered mainly for the release of the handoff of prisoners incarcerated there, was considerably degree motivated by the structures being the royal citadel in the midst of revolutionary Paris. Similarly, after Garibaldi's, I can't say it, of Bourbon rule in Palmyreo during the 1860s unification of Italy, the citadel, a symbol of hatred and oppressive former rule, was ceremoniously demolished. Following Belgium declaring independence in 1830, a Dutch garrison under General David Hendrik Chase held out the Antwerp citadel. Between 1830 and 1832, when the city had already become part of the independent Belgium, the siege of Alcar, the Spanish Civil War, which the nationalists held out against a much larger Republican force for 2 months until relieved, shows that in some cases the citadel can be effective in modern warfare. Similar cases in the Battle of Hue during the Vietnam War, when the North Vietnam Army held the citadel for Hue for 26 days against roughly their own numbers of much better equipped US and South Vietnamese troops. Citadel of Quebec, construction started in 1673, completed in 1820, still survives as the largest citadel, still in official military operation in North America. It is home to the Royal 2nd 22 Regiment of the Canadian Army and forms part of the ramparts of Quebec City, dating back to the 1620s. Since the mid-20th century, the citadel commonly enclosed military command control centres rather than cities or strategic points of defence on the boundary of the country. These modern citadels are built to protect the command centre of the heavy attacks such as aerial and nuclear bombardment. The military citadels under London in the UK, including the massive underground complex in Pindar, beneath the Ministry of Defence, are examples. So we know what that guy is. That guy is a demon, a demonic god. Armoured warships, the heavily armoured section of the ship that protects the ammunition and machinery spaces, is called an armoured citadel. So here's a list of citadels. I'm currently going through Google and mapping all these out to show you guys. So also Moscow, the Kremlin, is actually a big citadel, massive star fort. I think Napoleon was trying to take all of this. It is a fortified complex in the centre of Moscow, overlooking the Moskiva River to the south, St. Basil's Cathedral, the Red Square to the east, and Alexandra Garden to the west, best known as the Kremlin's Russian Citadels. It includes 5 palaces, 4 cathedrals, and the enclosing Kremlin Wall with the Kremlin Towers. In addition, with this complex, the Grand Kremlin Palace, that was formerly the Tsar's Moscow residence. The complex now serves as the official residence of the President of the Russian Federation and a museum with 2,746,405 visitors in 2017. The name Kremlin means fortress inside a city, and it is often used to refer to the government of the Russian Federation in a similar sense of how the White House refers as the executive office of the President of the United States. It previously referred to the government of the Soviet Union and the highest members, such as generals, secretaries, premiers, presidents, ministers, and commissaries. The term criminology refers to the study of the Soviet Russian politics. So the site has continuously been inhabited. I can't say that, I don't want to offend people. Since the 2nd century BC, the Slavs occupied the southwest portion of Borovsky Hill as early as the 11th century, and evidence of a metropolitan seal from 1090s, which was unearthed by the Soviet archaeologists in the areas. Built a fortified structure on the hill of I apologize, floating to the Moscovy River. Up until the 14th century, the site was known as the Grand of Moscow. The word Kremlin first recorded in 1331, though etymologist Max Vespa mentions early appearance in 1320. The grade was also extended by Prince in 1166, destroyed by the Mongols in 1237 and rebuilt in oak in 1339. So I'll leave the links up for this. Now, look at this bell. How can that break like that? What hit it to break that? I don't believe these did it. So this site has been lived on for a very long time. Check out. It's massive. So here we got the Citadel. We've got the towers that go around it for protection. And no one's really ever got Moscow. I think Genghis Khan climbed close, but no one has ever really got into it. And it's because of this fortification and cold weather. Beautiful tower. Free energy devices on top of that building, and this one. Beautiful buildings. Now this bell light, jeez, it's massive. Now, I want to know, how does a man push this around? It's just physically, like, how can a 5 foot or 6 foot man even pick up these giant balls to go into this giant cannon? I just don't think it's possible. I'm wondering if cannons were like a sound, you know, like you shoot from a blast. I wonder if they do that sort of damage. Okay, so that's just that one I just wanted to show you quickly. So, also, a Ravelin is a triangular fortification or a detached outwork located in front of the inner works of a fortress, the curtain walls, and the bastions, originally called the demi-lune after the lunette. In fortification, a lunette was originally outwork half-moon shape. Later it became a radian with short flanks and traced somewhat resembling a bastion, standing by itself without curtains on either side. The gorge was generally open. See a lot of them sort of half ones in Australia. I found one in Tasmania today as well. The outer edges of the Ravelin were so configured that it divides an assault force, and the guns in the Ravelin can fire upon the attacking troops as they approach the curtain. It also impedes the besiegers from using their artillery to batter a breach in the curtain wall. The side of the Ravelin facing the inner fortifications has at best a low wall, if any, so it's not to shelter attacking forces if they have overwhelmed it or the offenders have abandoned it. Frequently the Ravelins have a ramp or stairs on the curtain walled side of to facilitate the movement of troops and artillery onto the Ravelin. The first example of a Ravelin appears in the fortifications of the Italy town of Saracino, I can't say that, I apologise, and dates back from 1497. The first Ravelins were built of brick, but later, during the 16th century in the Netherlands, they were earth and perhaps faced by stone or brick to better absorb the impact of cannonballs. The Italian origins of the system of fortifications, the star forts, of which the Ravelins were part, gave rise to the term Tres Italiens. The French 17th century military engineer Vauban made great use of the Ravelins in his designs of fortification for Louis the... I'm not sure, I don't know, sorry. Was still being used in 1761 by William Jean at Gibraltar. So it's just another name for the term of the star fort. So just wanted to share you guys, women, whoever. So we've got the bastions, we've got citadels, and now we've got Ravelin. There are different names for it, and we've got the Latin name as well. I want to thank you, everyone that's subscribed. I really appreciate it. And the kind comments. If you have any areas where you'd like to see a video done about, let me know. I'm going to try and do a worldwide series of them all. Ravelin protecting the entrance of Fort McHenry, Baltimore, Maryland. Now, if you watch my latest video, you would see that the American anthem is written after a battle of a star fort. The Moe's fortifications, designed by Simon Stelvin, where Ravelins appear as triangular shapes surrounded by water. Ravelin outside the land gate at Tilbury Fort. Germany. (1668), Florida, Ravelin at the top of the photo between two bastions. And they've got tunnels underneath them. I've been watching a few videos of people getting into these places, and I have put a link up on my page if anyone wants to see them. Okay. So I just wanted to share that one quickly, what they are, and what some names are for them. So that's some forts that we've got. Now, where did I see? sober. Okay, let's check out some. Notes for I will be doing a video on all these forts in the United Kingdom. What's happened there? Yeah, this is one I found. 290 AD after Christ. So all the other ones that they're saying, you know, 16th, 17th or 18th, 19th century, they're older than that. And when you find one, you generally find another one really close by if you're looking well enough on the maps. New Haven Fort. This is Little Hampton Redoubt. A lot of these seem to be buried in the mud flood or whatever happened. They're buried, completely buried. I feel that these come out more. You can see a bit of an outline here. Comes up there and around here. You can just sort of lightly see an outline. So there is more under there. Okay, we got 1745 Cumberland, Fort Cumberland, England. These I've just been showing you, mainly England. It does say it would have had a moat around it at some stage and it's been filled in. Same as here. Another one here. You can quite see it's been dirt. Same as the other one back up there I just showed you. Lumps Fort. It's a shame they built the tennis court right next to it like that. More across here. It's all been filled in. I apologise, my microphone just stopped working. Don't know if it's still working. So what have we got here? We got a few more here. I'll just show you quickly. This is one of the round forts. England was really into the round forts. Or this one's a big one, this one. You see the outer design, it's pretty old. Fort Brockhurst. The beautiful star. Probably had more coming out here. You can still see the moat around it as well. Also, if you do a search on moats, you'll find a lot of these citadels, star forts and all that kind of stuff. This is Fort Elston there. We've got Fort Farnham. You can just see the moat there. This is Wellington, Hampshire. I'm not too sure about this one. I think it's been fully covered over in mud. Here we got Fort Nelson, Hampshire. We've got Fort Southwick. See, there's a car park now. Fort Widley. Once again, they're using the car park. Very similar design as well. Moats all dried out. I wonder if the rest of the population, like the people that go there every day, work there, realise what it is. Camp down, ports downhill. It's weird. I wonder what they're doing, whether they're pulling the tunnels, digging out of the tunnels. Another old fort. And here we've got Portier Aduni. So things all the way around it. It would add a moat around it as well. So as I said, they all seem to be in line. Another one here. Obviously it's all been filled in. Being so close to the ocean, it's no surprise. See this one clear as day. So if you look on the maps and, you put one or two in a region, you've got another one here that's been filled in by sand, dirt. So how are they building all of these forts when all of these wars are going on? There's supposed to be famines and droughts and depressions where there's just no money or no employment and wars. And how are all these getting built? Who's building them? Narrative just doesn't fit. Okay, these ones up here, No Man's Land and Horse-Sand Fort, there were 4 of them that England built in 1885 to 1887. This one's pretty much blocked out like the other one I showed in Australia before. No Man's Fort. And for the amount of money they built it, it's just ridiculous. It just doesn't make sense. So it's not going to let me show you guys. It's all been blurred out. Got Blacknor Fort here. We got Vern High Angle Battery. We got East Ware Battery. Bit hard to see when they're all filled in with the trees and the dirt. They're there. This was quite a big one at one stage by the look of it. Vern Citadel it's called. It's had a moat and everything in it. Massive. And then it's had another little one down behind it to protect it. The battery up here to protect it. Here we got Noath Fort. Here we got Berry. Got Bayard's Cove Fort. Looks like it's on a bit of a hill, downhill. A bit hard to see. I'm sure there are other forts down this way. I just haven't got that far in marking them ones off. I've done more of the top bit. Here we got the Royal Citadel at Plymouth. It's quite a nice looking one. We got 1642 Shudley Star Fort. Chudley Fort. And on the other side of the river, there's another one here. Down Fort. Castle is also a citadel. We got Fort George. Some beautiful forts around the world. Really just amazing. Okay, well, I'm going to have to stop this because this is just getting too long. And I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that's still here, still watching. I know it might be boring, but I have Alec Fort. Got Inch Fort. Looks like it's been covered up. Nature's reclaimed it. Looks like it went all the way out up here. This is Ned's Point. This is a ring fort. So there's a lot up in Europe around this way. Fort Dundry. Knockalella Fort. It's that Knockafellow for Knockarella Fort. So I might finish these ones. I'll just do this last one here, and then I might finish this area another day. It's just going too long. Probably won't be watching. I hope people are watching. This is Leanan Head Fort. It's obviously been covered in mud. You can tell by the look of it. This looks like the front of it. Very interesting to see how it's all still covered. Nothing's been done. 1895. I think it'd be a bit older than that. So it'd come out here. See the pattern just. Okie dokie. Well, this is Ella here. Thank you for watching. If you're still with me at the end, I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed some of this and found some. Get to doing the rest of these. This was just the United Kingdom and Ireland. So I've been working a lot of them out on the map, and we've got a lot to go through. So I hope everyone sticks around and works it out with me. I'd like to get a map with ley lines and put the ley lines over it and see if they link up with the ley lines, and I think they might be all linked up with tunnels. Alright, thank you everyone, bye.